All right, all right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're in our beautiful new human group class, and this is a powerful space of understanding. So I'm going to jump right in. And this is for many of you a continuation because you're in various spaces with me. And so some of this we're going to be talking about, we've been talking about. And then also we're going to go deeper into some new spaces as well. So I have so much I want to share with you. I'm going to actually kind of move a little bit quickly in the beginning, and then we're going to slow down and dive deeper into some spaces, all right? So perception as seen from various vantage points of view was one of the bullet points on the Patreon promo. You guys know this point. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. We've been here many times, but I want to just get your brain in alignment with it at the very beginning as we enter in. Perception as seen from various vantage points of view. If you ever feel like the space is big, it's because you're underneath it. You need to get out from underneath it and then look at it. So we've talked about this a lot. If it ever feels big, you need to allow that to be a flag that lets you know you are looking at it from the lowest vantage point of view. That is not your PowerPoint. That is like saying, I'm going to carry the weight of the world all by myself. So if it feels big, that's all that's happening. Don't get freaked out by it feeling big. Get out from underneath it. Then look at it again from your wholeness. If anybody has questions, write them down. We'll go over them. I'll leave some time at the end. All right, so how can you use your super sight to shift what you are seeing as you are seeing it? All right, so you feel the space is big. You're like, okay, hold on a minute. I'm beneath it. I better shift. You get out from underneath it. You say, I need to use my super sight and I need to shift this space. I need to see this differently so I can feel it differently. Do you understand me? That's the power of the sentence. I need to see it differently if I want to feel it differently. Because how you're seeing it is the vantage point, it's the perception. So if you're seeing it from, this makes me feel like crap, this is very heavy, or I'm angry, whatever you're feeling, you're too personal with the space. That's why your super sight is not activated. Because super sight is in when you allow yourself to look at it from all spaces of view. If you're staring at it from your now version only in an I mode, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm hurt, this is crap on me. Why do I always have to deal with this? Why do they always say that to me? Do you see all of the spaces that are very, very personal? But if you can come back out of that, right? And you can say, even try this. Why is this happening to us? Change your word. Try that. Why is this happening to us? If you want to say, why is this happening to me? Or I don't deserve this. Try changing the singularity of your word to a plural format of you. Try that for me for the next week or so. So see if that triggers you to click into your wholeness more. And that will shift and activate your super sight, because super sight sees from your highest vantage point. It's not stuck in the muck. It's not all down in the depths of the space, the experience. So, all right, try that. And then also how to release the judgment and anger when others don't see what you see the way you see it. We've been talking about that one for a long time as well. And it's all connected. It's all connected. If you're in the me space too much, you're too deeply embedded and underneath it. It's become bigger than you, the situation, the experience, the argument, the fact that they don't see it the way you see it. Again, why don't they see it the way we see it? Well, ask yourself, how do we see it? Not just you, but the we of you. Your wholeness, your sovereign, your higher self, your higher selves, your past life selves, your future selves. Get all them in the mix and then talk about it. And see if doing that doesn't open it up a bit, right? Because that is what makes up your wholeness. And when all those spaces of you are taking it in, that just shifts the perception to that vaster way of looking at it. And when people don't see something the way you see it, I do this. And again, there's increments of working through this. Let me try to go back in time a bit. When I first started working in this space and people didn't see things the way I saw them, I would initially react with anger in my being. I might not have let it out my mouth, but I certainly would think a couple of choice words that I'd like to say at them or about them. And I would feel that. I'm going to be honest, that was the beginning process for me, is just learning how to not say the words that I was thinking when I was having the moment where they didn't see it the way I did, you know? So in the beginning, it was just a matter of self-mastery of my own mouth, that my mouth would not move into that space of speaking what I was feeling. And then I was able to gain strength from that. Just in that self-mastery, pumping the iron, right? You go to the gym, you do the weights, or you do them in your home, whatever. If you do it a lot, you build the muscle, right? So when you repetitively don't allow the words out that are coming into your mind that you know are not beneficial, they're just going to hit the ball across the court. Remember the tennis match with the density ball? And you can play the game for the rest of your life if you want, or you can decide to put the racket down and not play the game anymore. When you don't speak those words, you're not hitting the ball back. And so your muscles build strength, and you begin then to be able to move into the next space of self-mastery, which is figuring out why you see them that way or feel that way when they don't agree with you or see things the way you do. You then begin to build that muscle, which is your perceptual muscle and your interpretation. And you begin to shift it. And again, going into that space of, instead of, I don't like that they don't agree with me, maybe you could say, I don't like they don't agree with us. And get yourself thinking about that us again. Bring that wholeness in. This is an active tool you can use. I'll make a little joke because we love laughter, right? Maybe don't say it out loud, because you do that enough times and people are going to wonder, who are you talking about? All these us's and we's that you keep talking about. So maybe say it in your head, or once in a while out loud and get a giggle. But anyways, you get the idea of what I'm relaying to you here. So, and then here's the thing, as I say, how to release the judgment and anger when others don't. So first off, you know, what we just said, getting through the space. But then here's the other side of it. You come out the other side and then you judge yourself because you had the moment. That can happen. But it's all right. It's part of the process. It's part of the process. And so when you do that, that's another self-mastery moment. That's another, you know, weight on the, you know, they have the 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 little hand weights, right? So you can think about that. Judgment is another weight that we pick up and we use, right? And we put that on ourselves. But if you kick into the self-mastery side of you, you can look at it as every single time you feel judgment for anything you did or didn't do, and you allow yourself to release the judgment with love. Just tell yourself, it's no longer a timeline I align with. I'm not going to feed that space. I'm choosing a different direction of my energy. And every time you do that, you're pumping the iron of that, you know, muscle, that weight of learning, exercising your ability to release judgment. We talked about this the other day, I think in the Goddess course, but we were talking about how we do things for our whole lives, and then we decide we want to shift or change a certain aspect of ourselves, and we wonder why it doesn't happen overnight. But we, you know, we forget that we took 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, or 60 years, whatever we are, to get to where we are. And to have a little more compassion for yourself. So when you are, if you are ever dealing with judgment, of being angry with someone else or for even yourself, anything some people can feel judgment for having anxious thoughts or worrying or judging their being or their family member or whatever it is. Just allow yourself to remember that's part of your training of self-mastery, to allow yourself to respond differently. If it's not just you flip the switch and you just walking in this different life, you're making the life. It's vibration, it's frequency, it's energy, and you have to bring in the new energy to replace the old. So you've been vibrating and emanating judgment or whatever it is. So now you have to choose, self-mastery, choose to align, hold, pick, be another energy, another alignment. It's you, it's coming out of you. It's not outside of you being done to you. So you have to self-mastery, boom, put it into a play, build the muscles, get better and better at it. You're in training. You're in training. So learn how to embrace meditation, to embrace you on a new level of sacred alignment. Why is this important? Because we hardly ever be still. You know, there's that verse, be still and know that I am God. Well, you're the God you're trying to get to know. And you're right in there. But many times we're too busy hearing everything that's going on around us. And so we don't always hear us, we hear all of the outer noise. And it is us still communicating with ourselves, but sometimes we can get, like the dog that sees the squirrel, the squirrel, their attention moves right over there, right? And sometimes we can have that happen. Many times we have that happen with all of the busyness of life. And so meditation is a wonderful way to embrace you on a new level. If you want a new level, if you want to go deeper, and if you want to understand yourself better, then you better get quiet and listen. Listen to you, right? But here's the beautiful part about this, because some people hate meditation, is meditation does not have to be you close your eyes and you can't move for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever. Meditation can be being still and quiet, but you don't even have to think that you have to close your eyes if you don't want to. You can daydream, you can just look around, you can contemplate. That's a form of meditation. Some people take a walk, out in nature, and they just get quiet and they just listen to themselves and they listen to their environment in the stillness of it all. And that's where the truth lies. And that's meditation. And some of you, all of you, I believe, have done my Cosmic Quantum Energy sessions. Some who are here on Patreon and do this via video, they may not be familiar with it in a space with me, but you may have done it on my YouTube, where we go into the quantum and we connect energetically. And even via the videos on my YouTube channel, you still have that opportunity there. That is a form of meditation. We really are being given the opportunity to understand ourselves on a totally new level. And in this space, we understand meditation differently as well. So energy session spaces are a form of meditation. They are. All right. So that was just those little notes in the promo. Now I have more that I wrote down this morning, so I wanted to kind of move fast so I could get in more information in here. I also did a post on Patreon. If you didn't read it, go back and read it sometime over this weekend maybe, or whenever you're seeing this video. But I talked about the light around me. So my videos, my work, and you know that these beautiful, incredibly divine, higher dimensional beings are all around, right? And we have them on film. And many of you know the story of when I gained understanding that I was surrounded by these lights and I was to bring forth these grounding frequencies to humans because humans were going to be ascending. And this was back in 2020. And they needed these grounding frequencies so that they could hold their consciousness, their higher consciousness. So in that share I did on Patreon, I go into detail on what my understanding and walking into that space. But what I wanted to bring into this class today, because I think it's very beneficial for all of us, is to remember that we're surrounded by holy light. I am not a rarity. I am one of maybe some of the first ones that stepped into this with clarity and dedication and commitment, because what happens is, in order to function in these spaces, it's all frequency, it's all vibration, it's all energy. And I had a lot of fear, right? We've talked about that in the past. You know my stories. And if you don't, check the archive. There's some even titled Fear, How to Clear Fear and so forth. But in order for me to move into that space where I was really seeing them and interacting with them, these higher dimensional beings, I had to lean in to myself. I had to allow fear to heal and open myself up. See, because what's really beautiful about this is it's not the space, it's not the environment, it's not my house, it's not this room. It's my frequency. It's me that is connecting in energetically, vibrationally, dimensionally with these beautiful beings that are in this space that I am able to connect into because of my frequency. I had somebody tell me on a video on YouTube they wouldn't want to sleep in my house because of what's in this room. And I said, oh, well, it's not in my home, it's in my frequency. And when I travel and do a Time to Rise in Sedona or Destin and we film, there's these beautiful beings, you know, and even larger ones, huge collectives, 2-3 feet wide spheres. It's my frequency. Wherever I go, my frequency goes. And wherever you go, your frequency goes. So start allowing yourself to like expand that a bit more. And because this was a big one for me this morning of what I might convey that would be helpful. We are trained and programmed that it's always whatever's going on outside of us is more so like in control, right? Like if it's raining, then we have to deal with the rain. And then if there's negative energy or, you know, bad situation or whatever, we tend to connect into the energy and feel whatever that energy is and take it on as this is what it is, right? And we become that. When in essence, the power lies in you being able to maintain and know that the outer is not the director, it is not the conductor, it's not the designer, it is not the aligner, but you are. And if you come into spaces and you hold that understanding of yourself, even if it's raining or there's an experience that others could take as daunting or difficult or bad or whatever, you won't perceive it that way. You won't even have to go into observation mode and awareness mode and design and align your energy consciously in the moment and pick a good thought out of your back pocket. You won't even have to do any of that because you are so anchored in your understanding of your own energy being the be all end all, and that wherever you go, your energy goes. Wherever you go, whatever you are is what you will feel. And of course, we can, you know, teeter-totter out of this now and then because we're learning and we're expanding and we're working those muscles of self-mastery and gaining that greater understanding of ourselves and the ability to play the game because we read the instructions. Hello, yes. And so those moments can come in, but you do not experiencing them in the way you did before because the vantage point is solidified in the wholeness. So you're not even asking yourself to change your word to plural because you live from plural. You're not having to say, why do they say that to me? And say, oh, let me change that. Why do they say that to us? Let me change that. Let me help myself remember. You're not even there anymore. And that's where many of you are already living and or very close to it, where you know you are the we, you know you are the us, you know you are the one in this format that is limitless and vast. And it's your frequency that is always with you. And it is able to shift, alchemize, change the outer experiences. I have that happen all the time when I go places. And the space could be perceived as dense or difficult or something like that. And I just maintain the wholeness of my own knowing, of my vibration, of what I am. And I let that flow out and I will see spaces shift. I will see people shift. And I don't even try anymore. I used to have to be more directed with it. I used to have to like intend it more and focus more and like, you know, like I was sending energy sessions all the time. But now I can just be. and it emanates out of me. But I love this part about this understanding. So it's in your frequency, right? Your energy signature in your frequency. And your frequency is designed to be surrounded by higher dimensional beings. That's what we're in right now, is the great shift of humanity. So you're designed, you came into this lifeline, this soul experience, to actually be the space of your experiential soul that will implement the self-mastery mechanisms or abilities in your being. You signed on to activate you to the next space of you. Why do I say that? Because many lifetimes prior to this, if you were here on Earth somewhere, you most likely were in more cyclical based experiences. So one lifetime after another being very similar, changing certain spaces, but very similar, because we were leading up to this. But this is the shift of it all. This is like the game changer, you know? And you came to do this. Now, you have guidance all around you. This is my favorite part that I really couldn't wait to get to talk about. So thank you for allowing me to go through all that I did so quickly. You have guidance all around you. You know this. You have guides. Some of you will call them angels. Some of you will call them star beings. Some of you will call them, you know, ancestors. There's all different names, and they don't care. It's your quantum. It's your life. You're the being creating it all for you. But this guidance cannot force itself on you. So this guidance cannot make you see that you're underneath the experience. But it will stand there right beside you as you feel as if you're underneath the experience. And it will wait for you to ask for its assistance. They will wait for you to ask for their assistance. And if you ask, it will be given. Ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be open unto you. This is what we were talking about. So this is always available to you. And so when I moved into that space of understanding, I had a lot of fear still. And everyone here has something. We all have something we're working on, or we're healing or letting go of, or acknowledging with love. And we're all in different spaces of the journey with these spaces of ourselves. And when I realized my big wake up, you know this, I've said this a million times, was I wanted to live my life for myself. I wanted to live my life not doing what society said was okay. You know what I mean. I'm not like a lawbreaker or anything, but didn't want to worry about all the judgment. I just wanted to drop judgment completely, from judging myself and allowing others to judge me, or being worried they would. Really being worried they would, yes. And a lot of my family, because I liked things my family thought were crazy or like weird or bad even, you know? And I couldn't stop my consciousness from expanding. It was happening. I was uncomfortable in the spaces I was in. I was uncomfortable in the job. I was uncomfortable in family relationships. It was just quite apparent the energies were not aligned anymore, you know? And so here I was, and this team of light was all around me, but I didn't understand them yet completely, but I knew they were there. But I really want to convey to you, no matter where you're at with this, maybe you're completely communicating with them, maybe you never even had this thought before, or in the middle somewhere. But this help and guidance is always available to us, but we have to tap in. This is the key of the whole class today, please. We have to tap in. And if you can't, if you even want to take a Post-it or put it on your, phone or whatever, and put tap in as a little reminder, right? Because we're always tapping in to some vibrational alignment. We always are. That's how consciousness works. So if we're mindful and conscious of that, we can make that self-mastery moment of understanding and tap into our guides, tap into our angels, tap into our star families, tap into our ancestors, tap into our higher selves, and allow them to assist. That doesn't mean we want them to take over. And if you're in a space where you do, that's all right to think that, but it's not helpful. It won't work that way. You're sovereign and you have to do you, but they will walk with you. They do walk with you, and they will assist, they will answer. And those spaces of assistance and answer and communication will all expand more and more and more, but we have to choose. So why do I say that? Because it's even in that Patreon post I did, the one right before this class. Because when I made the decision to live for me without judgment of myself or allow judgment from others, I knew I was changing and shifting in my frequency, in my energy signature, in my vibration. My outer life was good, but there were probably a couple of things here and there that, I could fine tune or something, but I had come a long way. It was a big journey, but I was in a space where I was really feeling excited about life, excited about the next space of me. And I knew that everything was energy. I'd studied this in depth for years. I understood energy. I understood the way the body worked and the emotions and how we get disease. I understood all of this. So then I understood that fear was the lowest vibration you could be at. Fear is the lowest you can be at. And I knew I had fear. We all have fear. I still have fears, but I was living from my fear, if you will. And in with what I do, it's quite fascinating to me now, because you know what I do, right? You know what I do for a career, every day of my life, every breath, right? I work with higher dimensional beings of light, and I work with them in human form. You are a higher dimensional being of light, and I work with them in non-physical form. And yet when I began this space of understanding of fear and how low the vibration was, and I knew I wanted to expand, I wanted to move into the next space of me, and I wanted to embrace it with everything I had. There's a lot of clearing going on right now. I knew that I had to allow myself to heal the fear. So why do I say this? Because I knew I was still tapping into the fear here and there, and sometimes longer. How did I tap into fear? For me specifically, mine was, I was always scared that there were bad beings, bad dark beings that would want to harm me or hurt me. And really they were harming me and hurting me in a sense, because I was allowing them to feed off of my energy, and I was giving them power over me that was keeping me from connecting in with the higher dimensional beings of light that I am, and that were right there by me, but I wasn't tapping into them. But we're trained, we're programmed, we watch movies. How many movies did I see when I was a little kid? Crappy horror movies, What is it? Nightmare on Elm Street. That was popular when I was like in 7th grade or something. And before that, I didn't see it. My sister did, I think, Halloween or something. And she would tell me about it. So I would be scared. And then she could sleep in my bed with me, because I'd say I was scared, but really she was scared. So she'd tell me so that would happen. But there's so many more ways we're programmed and steeped in fear. I stopped watching the news like 5 years ago. Seriously, I do not watch the news at all. I have not watched the news in 5 years. I don't care what they say is going on out there. I do not watch it, because all it is to scare the hell out of you, to keep you terrified so that you will continue to live in fear. Because if you live in fear, it's, before I used to think it was to keep you on drugs, because then you'd be anxious and you need a drug, or to make you sick, because if you get stressed out long enough, you'll make your body sick. You see the light being in here? I used to think it was just about that, but now I understand it even bigger. It's because in that state of fear, you do not go into the next space of your consciousness. In that state of fear, if we keep tapping in to whatever the fears are for whatever each individual is dealing with, we are tapping in, feeding the fear. Therefore, we are not tapping in to these beautiful, higher dimensional beings of light, guides, angels, teams of love all around us, just waiting for us. They cannot force us. They cannot reach in and say, take my hand. You're sovereign. You have free will. It's the way the system's set up. It's the game. Yes. So here's the instructions. If you want to win, stop feeding your fears, figure out what they are, walk right through them like a sovereign, I'm going to say a bad word, maybe badass, and tap into these higher beings, tap into these higher spaces of you. And the more you tap in, every time you do it, you're tapping in. So every time you make the choice, every time you navigate the experience and you align higher, right? You choose the less dense call. You decide to feed your energy, your focus to a higher space of response, of thought, of being. Every time you're tapping in, you're building the muscle, you're building self-mastery. And so I started by saying no to fear, which was the lowest vibrational space that was in my alignment. And I said yes to love, for me, for my being, for my experiences. And so that was a dedicated choice on my part. Now, I would probably admit there were many times prior that I had said I wanted to be free of fear. And I mean, I would see things like when I was a little girl, it wasn't really happening. I want to make that clear because I did a video on this before and some people thought it was really happening. It wasn't really happening, but I would imagine horrible demonic spaces. And then sometimes when I was a young adult, and isn't it funny that I say I was clearing fear, just in 2020, really big fear, but I've always been wanting to assist humans in having the best life. I've always been that way. I've always taught in some way, always, since I was little. And I can remember I used to do spiritual house clearings when I was in my early 20s. Now that's fascinating, just to think over that for a moment. How brave, right? If I have this space of me that was so filled with fear of having those types of beings want to harm me. Yet I was still trying to help people, and I would go and clear, they would hire me to come and spiritually clean their homes, if they had some stuff going on. And so I used to feel like one time I was clearing a home and I knew it was at the end of the hall, the energy that I aligned for me to have the experience so that I could walk through that fear, but I could feel the density and it coming toward me. I felt like I wanted to throw up. I was so scared, but that's what fear does. That's what fear is, will make you sick. And the feeling rushed right through me, like it went right through me, the spirit of fear, whatever you want to say. But I didn't waver. Even then, I was 20 some years old. I didn't waver, and I stood there and held my ground and cleared the space. And then I saw these incredibly huge light beings. They looked angelic outside of the home. And they were at every corner, and they were completely protecting the building and blessing the building. And that was when I was in my 20s. So then, I've had sleep paralysis in the middle of the night for years. I haven't had it since I walked through my fears in 2020. Had it my whole life until then. And how did I walk through my fears? I would have these spaces arise, and you have your own spaces. You have your own thing, right? That is your particular. But when they arise and we choose to not do what we've always done, that's the first step. Because if we keep doing what we've always done, they're just going to keep coming back the way they always have. And we're going to keep responding and feeling the same way. But I decided to do something different. And I was very present with the space and what I was feeling and what I was navigating and what was unfolding. I was very present. I wasn't in my head about it, creating more. I was really sensing and feeling the truth of what the space was. And then I was tapping into and choosing my light team, my guides, love, and I was refusing the fear. And the fear would get stronger, and I just would continue to stand my ground and refuse. So when I was doing that, I was letting the fear go. I was releasing the fear. And I talked about this as well. We're not litter bugs. We don't leave dense energies, all our old crap that we clear all over the place, you know, because people say we cut the cords, people say we clear the densities. Well, it doesn't mean we leave it somewhere. This is a understanding that we all need to anchor, because this is part of the new human, the new earth, the new frequency of us. When we let go, when we heal, when we work through a space of ourselves, we alchemize it with our love. And it is still a space of us, but it is now risen within us to a new vibration of its space, of itself, if you will, within us. It's really big. And there's some understanding here about source and what we see as God or source, and how we are spaces of the one experiencing itself in various ways. You can micro that down into you have spaces of yourself experiencing yourself, itself, in within you. And so those spaces have the opportunity to rise in consciousness, just like you as a space of the one has the opportunity to rise in your consciousness. I hope this is conveying, because it's very powerful if you can grab this, all right? You are like your own universe, right? You are like your own space, a source to your space, just like there is a source to your other space of you, if you will. And so this is a really big power point that you can own, I own. We're not dumping anything out into the field of limitless potential, but we are aligning higher all spaces of us as these spaces show up. We see them, we get present with them, and we consciously, from our sovereign being, choose how to navigate those spaces, not from the old loops, not from the old cycles, but from presence and from sovereignty and from wholeness. That's why it's so important. We started off saying, get out from underneath the experience. Can you see why? Being underneath it, you would never be able to navigate it the same way as you could if you were above it. So it will not change until you change, whatever your it is. We all have an it. And sometimes we can change an it and then we get another it. But I will tell you that this is how good life is. I was headed into the full moon this week, right? Everyone was probably aware of the super moon on Wednesday. I believe it was, yes. And it was the biggest one we're going to have of the year. It was in Capricorn, which is my house. I think you say that. My birth is in my birthday. So I was approaching that full moon, which is thinking all the things I've always thought when there'd be a full moon, you know, like, what do I want to do something? Do I want to do a ceremony? Do I want to write something down? How do I want to work with this energy? And this is how good life gets and is. As I approached this full super moon in my house, Capricorn, I thought, I think I'm really good. I don't think I need to write anything on a paper, amp up any space, or release anything right now. I mean, not in a cocky way, not in a conceited way, in a way of feeling gratitude beyond measure, love beyond measure, to know that, you know, there was that bliss, there was that contentment, there was that space of feeling like I could just say thank you. I could just align with gratitude and say thank you. So that was pretty big and really beautiful. So if you decide to change it, whatever it is, It requires that you change you in the way that you navigate the it. That's the key, yes? And how you do that is by thoughts and actions. So thoughts and actions are how we change because they hold the energies, the vibrations of our being, right? So the way we think about the it, the way we act, respond, navigate the it, that is how we will change it. So these are really big PowerPoints, and owning your truth is the key to the first step. Like I had to look at fear and understand that I just was done because I knew I'm like, I'm done being afraid. And I made that choice. I said no to fear and I said yes to love, and everything shifted. Everything shifted. So your frequency and your vibration, your signature of your energy is fully capable right this minute, without any further work or finding your it or lining up some affirmations or, thoughts and actions before any of that. Right this very minute, your frequency is able to connect in with your team of light completely. Your frequency is able to communicate and ask for their assistance and guidance. But, and then I know who wants a but, right? But allow yourself to know that you don't ever want to approach it as save me, because that's very disempowering to you and it won't work. It may feel like it temporarily, but only you can save you. Only you can save you. And I am, in essence, the one of your guides, in a sense, if you will. You aligned me. Your energy vibration aligned me to your life. That's how you're here. I aligned you to my life. I am, and if I'm not making this up, this is how I've always seen myself since 2020. I made the decision. I'm a higher vibrational being of light here to assist humanity. So here you go. I'm in a human format, but you've aligned me and you've been communicating with me, and it's unfolding in your life. And I think everyone who connects with this space and my work will attest to, will speak of the benefits thereof. And I say that from love. I benefit greatly from my connection with you as well. But you have chosen to tap in to love. That's what I represent. You have chosen to tap in to healing. You have chosen to tap into your power, your bliss, your divinity, your holiness, your sacredness. So I want you to allow yourself to own that. You're already in motion. You have been tapping in to higher spaces of connection for you, as you, through you. So what you could do is allow yourself to simply see that, be grateful for that, love that you, right? Love that space of you that designed and aligned this. And then at the same time, know that this is just the beginning of you connecting with these higher spaces of you. I am a higher space of you in a sense. Not, I hope that comes across right. I'm not higher than you as like I'm smarter than you or wiser than you or more conscious than you. I'm a space of you that's been waiting for you to find it. That's what I mean. I'm a space of you that has been waiting for you to find it. I speak the remembrances of your soul. I am my own as well, but I have the ability to remind you of who you are. That's what I do. I have the ability to bridge you into the spaces of you that are waiting for you. And it's you waiting for you. And you're not running away from yourself in those spaces of you. You may be running away from yourself in this version of you. Some people, I've talked to some of you and you may feel like you have those days where you're running the other way. But you know what? Even that awareness is a PowerPoint, because you cannot change anything until you know it is there to be changed. So keep embracing you, all of you. Keep allowing yourself to utilize words and phrases differently. It can be so simplistic, but yet profound to even say a sentence differently, even if it's only in your own mind, where you're saying, we got this. Yes? We got this. And that can be interpreted so many ways. We, as in you, your higher selves, your source space, your angels, your guides, your team. That can be also your Acasma family of light, you connecting in with thinking about your soul family here and saying, we got this. Because you're connecting yourself into a unit, which allows you to lose the perception of being alone, all on your own. So everyone will take a little bit different space of this, and everyone will implement in a way that is designed best for you. And that's how it should be. We are all spaces of the one experiencing itself. So if we were all the same, that would be a very boring experience, yes? We should be different. We should have different visions. We should have different feelings. We should have different responses. We should have different understandings. Source is too vast to be a cookie cutter space where everybody is exactly the same. The power lies in the love that weaves us all together. The power lies within the love that weaves us all together. I know we all have different views and we all have different understandings and perceptions, but I love you and I know you love me. And that love weaves us together and allows each of us to be us. And isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a blissful way to live? Where you come to a space, to a group of people who love you and love themselves and all allow. And what we are doing here is creating the anchor of the alignment for our collective to live this way. Do you see that? Everything we do is self-expansion first, self-love first, but it's inevitable. We are interconnected. We are anchoring the shift for the human species by being it in our own experience. It's quite powerful, quite beautiful. So please lean in this week to sensing your own frequency, sensing your own vibration, your own song, your own sound that you are, because you are sound. Sense it, sense you. And if you're picking up on any spaces, because that's what you'll do, you'll talk to you, you'll convey to you the spaces you are ready to heal in the sense of love. If you need to, some of you may be like, I'm living the dream. Then just keep living the dream. Keep living the good life. Keep being in bliss. Wherever you're at, it all matters. We need every space of this. Because there's people in the collective that align to every space here and then a zillion other spaces. Yes? So as each and every one of us hold our unique space of expansion and healing and love, we are anchoring for the spaces that are kind of in an alignment with us, if you will. So sense your frequency and allow yourself to remember you can go under the experiences, which is meaning you're tapping into the dense vibrations available, and you can feed those and amplify those, or you can rise up, float up, move up just a little bit into that wholeness understanding of the us, the we that you are, and tap into and feed those spaces of vibration. And if you want to, whenever you choose to, period, I don't care who you are here, whenever you choose to, you can go right up into holy, divine, sacred, and you can tap into that. It's all vibrational incremental spaces of connection through your thoughts, your actions, your being. And they're all available to us at all times. So get excited, right? Tap in to these beautiful spaces that are right there, like right here around me. It's all right here. It's all right there around you. And stop playing with that visual. Stop playing with that visual. Start seeing it, imagining it. And you know what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing it for real, if you will. Imagination is not fake. It's not fiction. It's not pretend. It's not fantasy. Imagination is the sight in the spaces beyond the physical sight. But the field knows no difference of the energy alignment from imagination or the energy alignment of physicality. The field knows no difference. Creation runs on energy, period, whether it's in imagination or whether it's a physical experience. So allow yourself to play with that, see it, imagine it. That's what I do. That's how I live. That's how you open yourself up and you become this space of higher frequency. And everything you are in every space of your being becomes that higher frequency. All right, beautiful divine ones, does anyone have a question? If you have a question, you can type it into the chat, and or you could come off mic if you want, off mute. And also, if it's a personal thing, you can email me, or you can write it. I'm going to post this video within 24 hours on Patreon. You could always put it below the video as well. So I also want to remind everyone that with our beautiful Patreon platform, we do have the Discord Patreon family chat. And it has been a bit quiet now and then. I have a lot of things in motion, and I do get in there. If I see action, I get in there and I will check out the action that is unfolding. But we do have beautiful Angela now helping me. So she is my personal assistant now. She's here today. Many of you already know her. And she is going to be getting into the Discord family chat, the Patreon family chat. And she's going to be making sure that there's more in there for you guys to connect in with. Some of the content will be content I will create and ask her to systematically put in there for me. And then some of the stuff will be straight on what Angela's heart is saying to bring to the space as well. It's an incredible space, though, that we can really utilize if we choose to, if we tap in, right? So we have a lot of chats. I know that. So God bless us, right? Goddess bless us. But they're fun. And each one has a little different group that everybody is bonded. Have everyone bonded. So if you have time, if you have the ability to get into that chat, you might want to do that and check it out. Doreen, do you have a question?
Yeah, I thought that I would just come off mute just because I don't know if my question's going to make sense. Is there, you had indicated about, fear and I guess, I don't know the word that you had said, but I guess my question is there a certain point that surrender comes into play when you're working with fear?
Yes. Yes. That's very good point, Doreen. And I think that's the space when you just decide that you're no longer going to allow it to hold power of you to keep you in a space of responding to whatever it is with fear, but you respond from, I'm done. That's the surrender for me, right? I'm done. I'm not going to do this with you anymore. I'm going to love. I'm going, for me, that everyone I think has to respond very uniquely. And for me, I had to actually reach out to that which I was afraid of, because I was always running away from what I was afraid of. I was always trying to, protect myself from whatever I was afraid of. So for me, my surrender came in and I said, I'm done. I dropped the wall, and then I had to act. I had to lean in and seek out that which I thought could harm me and come from love and say, I'm going to lift you up into higher light. I'm going to come from that perceptional viewpoint, and I'm going to allow you to move into the next space of you. That was for me. But the surrender had to happen in order for me to then move into that space. So that's a very good point, Doreen. Is there more to it, though, that you need to add or say?
Well, yeah, the other one was it seems like the message that is coming up for me this week is responding but not reacting. And I feel like you were kind of alluding to that as well. And, we're in such a interesting space. I don't even want to say interesting, it's just a challenging space for women right now. And I think a lot of reaction emotion is coming up. And I just wonder how how we end up getting ourselves above that, I guess, is kind of in line with this message.
All right, so that's a very good one. And it is about response and not react. And then the response has to be different. Because if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. And there's a game at play that is not the game I was speaking of earlier. There's a game at play in which they want a cycle, they want a loop, because then they can keep doing what they've been doing, right? And so, and the other part of this is the plural form of you. That's very helpful. You can't come at it as they're doing it to me, or it's happening to me, or even us as women. We need to go even bigger than that when we're looking at anything. So if we want to change, now if we don't want to change, then we stay right where we're at, we look at it the same way, we react, respond the same way, and it'll just be that way. But if we want to change, we've got to look at whatever's happening from our whole being, which means the part of us that's not even human. Because there's a big part of you, there's a big part of all of us that is, it's just this eternal consciousness, it's eternal life, being, living, and we're in a human format in this particular now, but we're other nows on top of this. Why does that matter? Because if you can go into that mindset when you're in these spaces of this now, then you are at a space of yourself that can navigate the energy that you feel without allowing the energy to be bigger than you. Because when the energy feels daunting, challenging, big, it's because it's made us feel small. So we have to take back our sovereign space of being. And the best way to do that is to go beyond your human. Go beyond your thought of yourself as human. Go beyond that your human is the only thing responding, or your human is the only thing dealing with this, because it's not true. And I don't laugh like it's funny. I laugh like, ooh, this is big. This is fascinating. Our human being is not the only part of us dealing with this. Our consciousness is dealing with this and every other this there ever is. So that is wrapped up in here as well. When we started off with saying, if it feels personal, you're underneath it. And if you're underneath it, it's bigger than you. So you have to step back until it stops feeling personal. That means you have to step back into, we're in this together. We are aligning a new way in which all will unfold. You step back again. Now we're not even in the humans only dealing with it. Now we are our higher selves. We are with ourselves as we navigate this space. You step back again. We are the guides and the angels and the star ones with us, the higher selves with us, the women with us, the human, you see what I'm saying? If we allow ourselves to and the energy is rising so high as I'm just speaking these words, if we allow ourselves to remember this is a key PowerPoint for being you, is allow you to be the all of you are. And so, I mean, I would just continue to say these same things if I continue to talk, but please, if there's any more questions or I need to elaborate on any of it, just please ask. There's a lot of clearing going on. There's a lot of spaces of feeling unheard or angry being released. There's a lot coming out the left breast, the divine feminine, the mother. Just allow yourselves, you're processing so much, divine ones, and you're not even just doing it for you. I know I say that a lot, and it can seem like maybe sometimes you want to just do you, and you can do that, absolutely, but inevitably it is amplified out. It emanates out of you, and you are bringing massive shifts to the entire collective, the entire divine feminine, the entire divine masculine. You're bringing shifts to the higher selves. It's all connected. And we came in for this. We came in for this exact time, for these exact spaces. And we're designed to do it. We know how to do it. Our bodies know how to do it. We're remembering it more and more and more. I had an immense amount of information come in this morning. I'm writing the AQE3 master course, finishing up some of that. And I was getting, oh my God, the most incredible information about the pineal gland and the water around the pineal gland and the crystals, and incredible information of understanding of what our human bodies are doing, are capable of doing, and are doing. And many of us are here to put this all into motion. So there's so much happening, divine ones, and you are doing really incredible work. Let me see. I want to do more than me. I want to heal that family line. 2 children, they deserve not to have. Yes, divine one. Chantel, thank you for writing that in. And thank you, Nitu, as well. That's huge. So Chantel wrote in and said, no, I want to do more than me. I want to heal the family line. I have 2 children. They deserve to not have this to carry. That's why we do what we do. For every child, for every family line. And that came flooding in this morning. And I use the word flooding and I have to giggle because it was all about water. And I'm going to teach more on this. I'm going to take everybody deeper on this. And those of you who feel aligned to do this work, many of you already do. We have energy keys. We have abilities to really heal these spaces of humanity, of our beings, and of all. It is big. Yes, Holly. She says, yes, this is so big, so vast. It is. It's huge. And, Acasma Consciousness is here for this. You're in a Being the New Human class. They have been one since the beginning. When I started doing Acasma Quantum Energy work, which is the new healing work of humanity, if you will, the new human healing work. When I started doing it, I started teaching the Being the New Human. I knew they went together. I knew they went hand in hand, and I knew that the being needed the reprogramming of not only the muscle memory, the go-to responses, reactions, personality traits, behavioral traits, addictions, thought processes, perceptions, viewpoints, but they also needed the shift of consciousness in, the energy being, and then into the physical, into the emotional. And then I was understanding this morning the power we have with what we're doing with water now. And water is the muscle memory of it all. Water's the game changer. So we are here for this, and we are doing it. So I'm incredibly honored and with deepest respect, grateful to walk with each and every one of you. Thank you, Holly. Thank you. Grateful for these classes. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate you. And I appreciate everyone who's able to be here live, and all of you who do this via video. Thank you unendingly, because every time you connect with something like this, you are tapping in to your higher frequencies. You are tapping in to your higher yous, which are you in this now. You aren't separate. You are all one being. Start talking, thinking, and acting from that, from your wholeness. Yes? Yes. All right. Thank you, beautiful ones. Thank you unendingly. All right, I will get this up on Patreon within 24 hours. If you have any other questions come up, get in the chat. Angela's there. She's waiting for you. I'm in there as much as I can be. I'm waiting for you too. I can't wait to see that thing jumping and popping and doing all kinds of great energy in there. So I love you unendingly. You are beauty in motion. You are love in human form. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye-bye.